I gave up my $100,000 inheritance to help my sister's business because my mom said she deserved it more. A week later, I found her on a beach in Hawaii with my husband. What I discovered next made our family dinner turn into something no one will ever forget. I'm Peyton, 32, a librarian in a sleepy Ohio suburb. My life's been predictable. Work, home, repeat. I spend my days shelving books, helping kids with their homework, and dreaming of a bigger life. But lately, it's like I'm stuck in quicksand. My husband, Ethan, a freelance photographer, has been distant. He's always out late, claiming it's for client meetings. I want to believe him, but there's this gnawing feeling in my something's off. I just don't know what yet. My family doesn't help. Mom, Victoria, retired from teaching high school English, has always had a favorite, my younger sister, Quinn. At 28, Quinn's the golden child, the one who can do no wrong. She's an event planner, always posting about her glamorous life on Instagram. Me, I'm the reliable one, the one who pays her bills on time and never makes a fuss. But reliable doesn't get you love in this family. It gets you overlooked. Dad passed 2 years ago, leaving behind a small estate, $200,000 to be exact. It was supposed to be split evenly between Quinn and me. That's what Dad wanted. He was fair like that, always making sure we both felt seen. But Mom had other plans. Last month, she called a family meeting at her house, a tidy brick colonial in the heart of our town. Instead, I walked into an ambush. "Peyton, honey," Mom started, her voice syrupy. "Quinn's got this big opportunity, a new business venture. She's got the talent, but she needs a little help to get it off the ground." She was sitting at the dining table, her hands folded like she was about to deliver a sermon. Quinn was there too, all smiles, her manicured nails tapping on her phone. Ethan was late again, muttering something about a shoot when he finally showed up. I frowned. "What kind of business?" I asked. Quinn's ventures usually meant some half-baked idea that fizzled out in a month. Last year, it was a food truck that never left the planning stage. Before that, a boutique that closed before it opened. "Event planning, but bigger," Quinn said, tossing her hair. "Corporate gigs, weddings, the works. I just need a little capital to make it happen." I looked at Mom. "What does this have to do with me?" Mom sighed, like I was being difficult. "The estate, Peyton. If you could let Quinn have your share, it'd mean the world to her. To all of us." My heart sank. My share. $100,000. Money I'd been counting on to pay off my student loans. Maybe even put a down payment on a house. Ethan and I had been talking about moving out of our cramped apartment. I glanced at him, hoping for backup. He just shrugged, avoiding my eyes. I wanted to scream. Why was it always me making sacrifices? Quinn never had to give up anything. When we were kids, she got the bigger room, the newer clothes, the car when she turned 16. I got hand-me-downs and a bus pass, but Mom's eyes were on me, pleading, and Quinn was giving me that puppy dog look she's perfected over the years. I felt like I was 10 again, desperate for Mom to notice me. "I don't know," I said, my voice small. "That's a lot of money." "It's an investment in your sister's future," Mom said, her tone sharpening. "You've got a steady job. Quinn needs this more than you do." Steady job? Right, like being a librarian made me rich. I make $35,000 a year, barely enough to cover rent and groceries. Quinn, meanwhile, was always jetting off to some party or another, her life a carousel of glitter and champagne. But I could feel the weight of Mom's expectations, the way she'd already decided I'd say yes. "I just need to think about it," I said, stalling. Quinn leaned forward, her voice soft but calculated. "Peyton, I swear I'll make it up to you. This is my big break, please." Ethan finally piped up. "Maybe it's not a bad idea, Pay. Family helps family, right?" His words felt hollow, like he was reading a script. I looked at him, searching for the man I married 5 years ago, the one who used to make me laugh until my sides hurt. He wouldn't meet my gaze. The room felt smaller, the air heavier. I wanted to say no, to stand up for myself for once, but Mom's disapproval was like a physical thing pressing down on me. I've spent my whole life trying to make her proud, and I've never quite gotten there. Maybe this would be different. Maybe she'd see. Fine, I said finally, my voice barely above a whisper. I'll sign it over. Quinn squealed, throwing her arms around me. You're the best sister ever, she said, but her hug felt cold, performative. Mom beamed at her, not me. That's my girl, she said, like I hadn't just given up everything. We met with the lawyer the next week. I signed the papers, my hand shaking as I did. $100,000 gone, just like that. I told myself it was fine. Quinn would succeed and maybe she'd pay me back someday. Maybe Mom would finally look at me the way she looks at Quinn. But deep down, I knew better. Something wasn't right. Quinn was too vague about her business, dodging questions like she always. And Ethan? He was barely home anymore, always off on some shoot, his phone buzzing at all hours. I tried to push it down, to focus on work. The library was my safe place, the one spot where I felt in control. But every night, lying in bed, I'd stare at the ceiling, wondering why I always came last. Why was it so easy for them to take from me? Why did I let them? A week after the signing, I got a text from Quinn. A photo of her at a rooftop bar, all glitz and glamour, with a caption, "Living the dream." My stomach twisted. That didn't look like a business meeting. It looked like my money slipping through her fingers. And Ethan? He hadn't texted me back all day. I didn't know it then, but that was the moment the cracks started to show. My perfect little life, the one I'd worked so hard to hold together, was about to fall apart. I couldn't shake that photo of Quinn at the rooftop bar. Her smug smile, the glittering city lights behind her, it burned into my brain. Living the dream? With my money? I tried to tell myself it was nothing, just Quinn being Quinn, flashy and careless. But the unease wouldn't let go. It was like a splinter under my skin, impossible to ignore. Ethan wasn't helping either. He'd been home maybe 3 nights that week, always with some excuse about a client or a last-minute. His phone was glued to his hand, and every time I got near it, he'd tilt the screen away. Subtle, but I noticed. I started paying attention. Little things at first. A receipt in his jacket pocket for a coffee shop he never goes to. A vague answer when I asked about his day. Just work stuff, pay, he'd say, barely looking at me. I wanted to believe him, but my gut was screaming. Something was wrong. I just didn't know how bad it was yet. It was a Saturday morning when it all unraveled. I was alone in our apartment, Ethan off on another shoot. I poured myself coffee and opened Instagram, more out of habit than anything. Quinn's story popped up. Another trip, this time to Hawaii. Palm trees, a sparkling pool, her in a bikini sipping a drink with a tiny umbrella. My heart sank. That wasn't cheap. Was that my money? I clicked through her posts, my hands shaking, and then I saw it. A photo of her laughing by the beach, and in the background, clear as day, was Ethan. My Ethan. His camera slung around his neck, grinning like he didn't have a care in the world. I dropped my mug. It shattered on the floor, coffee splashing everywhere. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't breathe. No way, this couldn't be real. I replayed the story, pausing on Ethan's face. It was him, my husband, with my sister, in Hawaii, using the money I gave up. I felt sick, like the world was tilting under me. How long had this been going on? Right under my nose. I grabbed my phone and called Ethan, straight to voicemail. Of course, I texted him, "Where are you?" No reply. I tried Quinn. Nothing. My hands were trembling so hard I could barely type. I sank onto the couch, staring at that photo until my eyes burned. They were together. Together. The word echoed in my head, sharp and ugly. I don't know how long I sat there, numb. But then something shifted. I wasn't just hurt. I was pissed. They thought they could do this to me? Play me for a fool? No, I wasn't going to sit here and cry. I needed answers. I needed proof. I started digging. First, Ethan's laptop. He'd left it open on the kitchen table, a rare slip. I hesitated for a second. Snooping felt wrong, like I was crossing a line, but then I remembered that photo, and any guilt vanished. I opened his email. Most of it was boring client invoices, spam, but then I found a confirmation for a flight to Honolulu, booked under his name and Quinn's. 2 tickets, paid for with a credit card I didn't recognize. My stomach churned. I kept scrolling, hotel receipts, dinner reservations, a spa day for 2, all from last week. Thousands of dollars, spent like it was nothing. I printed everything, my hands shaking as the printer whirred. Each page felt like a punch. But I wasn't done. I checked our joint account, something I hadn't done in months because Ethan handled the bills. There it was, a withdrawal of $10,000 labeled business expense. Business expense? For what? His shoots didn't cost that much. I cross-checked the dates. It lined up with their... Then I went for his phone. He'd left it charging in the bedroom, another careless mistake. His passcode was still our anniversary. God, what a joke. I opened his texts. My heart stopped. Messages to Quinn, dozens of them. Can't wait to see you. Last night was amazing. A heart emoji. I wanted to scream. I scrolled further, my vision blurring. Photos of them together. Selfies at a bar. Her head on his shoulder. My sister. My husband. It was real. I took screenshots, my fingers moving on autopilot, every text, every photo saved to my phone. I didn't cry, not yet. I was too angry, too focused. They'd been playing me for months, maybe longer. And the money, my inheritance, they'd burned through it on their little love nest. I could barely think straight, but one thing was clear. They weren't getting away with it. I called Natalie, my best friend since college. She's a lawyer, sharp as a tack, and the only person I trusted to hear this without judging me. "Peyton, what's wrong?" she said the second she picked up. Her voice was steady, grounding. I spilled everything, the photo, the receipts, the text. "Oh my God," she said. I can't even... Okay, listen. Don't do anything rash. We need to be smart about this. Can you send me everything you found?" I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "Yeah, I've got it all." "Good," she said. "Email it to me, every single thing. We're going to nail them, Peyton, but you need to stay calm. Can you do that?" Could I? I wasn't sure. My whole world was crumbling, and all I could see was Quinn's smug smile, Ethan's stupid grin. But Natalie was right. I needed to be smart. I wasn't going to let them walk all over me anymore. "Okay," I said finally. "I'll send it." I hung up and started forwarding everything, screenshots, receipts, the works. My hands were still shaking, but it wasn't just hurt anymore. It was rage, pure and hot. They thought they could break me? They thought I'd just take it? No. I was done being the good sister, the good wife. I was going to make them pay. As I hit send on the last email, I felt something shift inside me, like a switch flipping. This wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about them thinking they could ruin me and walk away laughing. They were wrong. I couldn't sleep after sending those emails to Natalie. My mind was racing, replaying every screenshot, every text, every lie. My sister and my husband, together, spending my money like it was a game. The anger was like a fire in my chest, burning hotter every second. I didn't want to wait. I needed to face them, to see their faces when I laid it all bare. Natalie told me to be smart, but sitting still felt like letting them win. I wasn't going to let them keep laughing behind my back. Yvonne's Sunday dinner was the perfect chance. She always hosted, like clockwork, at her house. Quinn would be there, all smiles, playing the perfect daughter. Ethan, too, probably, acting like nothing was wrong. I spent the morning printing everything, screenshots, receipts, flight confirmations. I stuffed them into a folder, my hands shaking with a mix of rage and nerves. This wasn't me. I don't do confrontations. I'm the one who keeps the peace, who bites her tongue. But not today. Today I was done. I walked into Mom's house, the folder tucked under my arm. The smell of her pot roast hit me, familiar and wrong all at once. Quinn was in the living room, scrolling on her phone, her laugh grating on my nerves. Ethan was there too, slouched on the couch, sipping a beer. He didn't look up when I walked in. Mom was in the kitchen, humming, oblivious. It was all so normal, so fake. I wanted to scream right then, but I held it together. I had to do this right. "Dinner's almost ready," Mom called, her voice cheerful. I didn't answer. I sat at the dining table, the folder in my lap, waiting. Quinn finally looked up, her smile faltering when she saw my face. "You okay, sis?" she asked, her tone too sweet, like she was talking to a child. I didn't answer. I just stared at her, my jaw tight. Ethan shifted uncomfortably, his eyes darting to Quinn. They knew something was up. Good. Let them squirm. Dinner started and Mom kept the conversation light, talking about her garden, the neighbor's new dog. I barely heard her. My heart was pounding, my fingers gripping the folder under the table. I waited until everyone was seated, plates full, before I made my move. "I need to say something," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. Mom looked up, surprised. Quinn raised an eyebrow, still playing innocent. Ethan froze, his fork halfway to his mouth. I opened the folder and slid the first photo across the table. A screenshot of Quinn's Instagram, Ethan in the background, laughing in Hawaii. "Care to explain this?" I asked, my voice sharp. Quinn's face went pale. Ethan choked on his beer, coughing. Mom frowned, picking up the photo. "What's this?" she asked, her tone confused. "Keep going," I said, pushing the folder toward her. "There's more." Mom flipped through the pages. Hotel bookings, texts. Her eyes widened, but she didn't say anything. Quinn started stammering. This isn't what it looks like, Peyton. You're blowing this out of proportion." "Out of proportion," I snapped, my voice rising. "You're sleeping with my husband. You used my money, my inheritance, to fund your little vacations. You think I'm stupid." Ethan finally spoke, his voice shaky. "Peyton, let's talk about this privately." "No," I cut him off, slamming my hand on the table. The plates rattled. "We're doing this now. You don't get to sneak around and then ask for privacy. You're a liar, both of you." Quinn's eyes filled with tears, but I wasn't buying it. She's always been good at crying on cue. "Peyton, I swear it's not like that. We got carried away. It was a mistake." "A mistake?" I laughed, bitter and loud. "You spent thousands of dollars of my money on your mistake. You planned this, both of you." I turned to Ethan. "How long, huh? How long have you been sneaking around with her?" He wouldn't look at me. It just happened," he mumbled. "I'm sorry, Pay." "Sorry!" I was shouting now, my voice echoing in the quiet room. "You're sorry? You betrayed me with my own sister, and you're sorry?" Mom finally spoke, her voice trembling. "Peyton, calm down. Let's not make a scene. Quinn's your sister. She wouldn't—" "Wouldn't what, Mom?" I turned on her, my anger spilling over. "Steal from me, lie to me, sleep with my husband? She did all of that. And you? You pushed me to give her that money. You chose her like you always do." "Not fair," Mom said, her voice sharp. "You're overreacting. Quinn needed that money for her business. You're just jealous." Jealous. The word hit me like a slap. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. "Jealous? You think I'm jealous of her?" I threw the rest of the papers on the table. Texts, photos, all of it. "Look at this. Look at what your precious Quinn did, and you're still defending her." The room went silent. Quinn was crying now, but it was fake. All for show. Ethan just stared at the table, his face red. Mom looked at the papers, her hands shaking. "Peyton," she started, but I didn't let her finish. "I'm done," I said, my voice cold. "Done with all of you." I grabbed my purse and walked out, the door slamming behind me. I could hear Quinn sobbing, Mom calling my name, but I didn't stop. My heart was racing, my hands trembling, but I felt alive. For the first time in years, I wasn't swallowing my pain. I was letting it out. By the next day, the story had spread. Our town's small and gossip travels fast. Neighbors whispered about Quinn's affair, about Ethan's betrayal. Friends texted me, shocked, offering support. Quinn's perfect image was cracking and Ethan's photography clients started canceling. I didn't feel sorry for them, not one bit. I called Natalie that night, my voice still raw. "I did it," I told her. "I confronted them." "Holy crap, Peyton," she said. "How'd it go?" We lied. They always do. But I'm not letting this go. "Good," she said. "Send me those files again. We're going to make them pay." I hung up, staring at the folder on my coffee table. The fire in me hadn't died. It was only getting stronger. They thought they could break me. They were wrong. I was just getting started. The confrontation at Mom's house left me raw, but it also lit something inside me. I wasn't the pushover anymore, the one who'd just take it and smile. My sister and my husband thought they could walk all over me, spend my money, and laugh behind my back. No more. I was done crying. It was time to fight back, and I wasn't going to do it alone. I met Natalie the next morning at a coffee shop down the street. The place was quiet, just the hum of the espresso machine and a few early risers. I slid into the booth across from her, my folder of evidence heavier than ever. She looked at me, her eyes sharp but kind. "You okay?" she asked, pushing a latte my way. "No," I said honestly, my voice low, "but I'm not letting them win." She nodded, flipping open the folder. "Good, because we've got them dead to rights." She spread out the papers, screenshots of flirty texts, receipts for their Hawaii trip, bank statements showing that massive withdrawal from our joint account. Every page was a knife to my heart, but also a weapon. "This is fraud, Peyton. They misled you about the business to get your inheritance. We can take this to court." Court. I hesitated. Lawsuits were big, scary, expensive. But then I thought of Quinn's smug smile, Ethan's weak apologies. What do we need to do? Natalie leaned forward, her voice steady. "We prove Quinn lied about the business, we show the money was misused, and we hit them where it hurts. Their wallets." She tapped the receipts. "This is our ammo. You've got everything. Dates, amounts, proof they were together. It's airtight." I took a deep breath. "Let's do it." Over the next week, I became a machine. I went through every text, every email, every post Quinn had made. I found more photos from another trip to Miami, a spa day in Chicago, all paid for with my money, thousands of dollars, gone on their little love affair. I forwarded everything to Natalie, my hands steady now. No more shaking, no more tears. I was focused, like I'd never been before. Nally's firm drafted the lawsuit. Fraud, breach of trust, emotional distress, the works. I didn't just want my money back, I wanted them to feel the weight of what they'd done. I also called the bank and froze our joint accounts. Ethan had been using them like his personal piggy bank, and I wasn't letting him touch another cent. When he texted me begging to talk, I ignored him. He didn't get to talk his way out of this. The hardest part was Mom. She called me the day after the dinner, her voice soft, like she was trying to smooth things over. "Peyton, honey, let's not tear the family apart. Quinn made a mistake. Can't we work this out?" A mistake. There it was again, that word. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles turned white. "She slept with my husband, Mom. She stole my money. That's not a mistake, that's betrayal." She sighed, like I was being dramatic. "You're making this bigger than it is. Quinn's sorry. She needs you." "No," I said, my voice cold. "She needs to face the consequences, and so do you." I hung up before she could say another word. It hurt, cutting her off like that, but I was done begging for her approval. She'd chosen Quinn my whole life. Now she'd have to live with it. The court date came faster than I expected. Natalie prepped me, walking me through every step. "They'll try to spin it," she warned. "Quinn will play the victim. Ethan will act remorseful. Don't let them get to you." I nodded, my jaw tight. They won't. The courtroom was small, sterile, nothing like the dramatic ones on TV. Quinn sat across from me, her eyes red, her usual polish gone. Ethan was next to her, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Good. Mom was there too, in the back, her face unreadable. I didn't look at her. I kept my eyes on Natalie as she laid out our case, her voice sharp and clear. "Your Honor," she said, "my client was coerced into giving up her inheritance under false pretenses. The defendant claimed it was for a business venture, but instead, the funds were used for personal luxury. Trips, hotels, spa days, while she engaged in an affair with my client's husband." Quinn's lawyer tried to interrupt, but Natalie was relentless. She presented every piece of evidence. The Instagram posts, the receipts, the texts, each one was a nail in their coffin. Quinn tried to cry, claiming she meant to pay it back, but it fell flat. The judge wasn't buying it. Neither was I. Ethan didn't even try to speak. He just sat there, head down, like a kid caught stealing. When Natalie showed the bank statements, proving they'd blown through my money, the judge's face hardened. "This is a clear misuse of funds," he said. "The plaintiff's case is compelling." It was over in hours. The judge ruled in my favor. Quinn had to repay every cent she'd taken. Ethan was on the hook too, since he'd benefited from the money. I felt a rush, like I could finally breathe. They thought they could break me, but I was the one standing tall. Outside the courthouse, Quinn tried to talk to me. "Peyton, please," she said, her voice shaky. "I didn't mean for this to happen." I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in years. She wasn't the golden child anymore. She was just a liar who'd lost everything. "You made your choice," I said. "Now live with it." I walked away, leaving her standing there, tears streaming down her face. Natalie caught up with me, grinning. "You did it," she said. "They're done." I nodded, but it didn't feel like a victory yet, not completely. I'd gotten justice, but the scars were still there. My sister, my husband, my mom. They'd all betrayed me, and no court ruling could erase that. But for the first time, I felt like I was in control. I was calling the shots, and they were going to feel every bit of it. The courtroom wind felt like a weight lifting, but it didn't erase the ache. I'd gotten justice. My sister and my husband were ordered to repay every cent, but the victory was bittersweet. They didn't have the money anymore. They'd blown it all on their lavish trips, their little fantasy. The judge's ruling was clear. They were liable for the full amount, but I knew I'd never see a dime. They were broke, living in a rundown apartment on the edge of town, scraping by, not one penny left for either of them, and honestly, that felt better than any check ever could. I didn't stick around to watch them fall apart. I needed a fresh start, somewhere their shadows couldn't touch me. I packed up my apartment, left the memories behind, and moved to a new city a few hours away. It wasn't far, but it was enough. A new library job came with a promotion. Head librarian with a small office and a team that respected me. It wasn't glamorous, but for the first time in years I felt like I was building something for myself, not just cleaning up someone else's mess. Therapy helped too. I started seeing a counselor, a kind woman who listened without judgment. Talking about it, my sister's betrayal, my husband's lies, mom's favoritism, was like lancing a wound. It hurt, but it was the kind of hurt that heals. I cried a lot those first few sessions, letting out years of pent-up pain. "You've been carrying their weight too long," my therapist said. She was right. I'd spent my life trying to please them, to be the good one. No more. Mom tried to reach out a few weeks after the trial. She left a voicemail. her voice soft, hesitant. "I'm sorry, honey. I didn't know how bad it was. Can we talk?" I listened to it 3 times, my thumb hovering over the call button. Part of me wanted to hear her out, to believe she could change. But then I remembered her at that dinner, defending my sister, dismissing me. She'd made her choice. I deleted the message and didn't call back. Maybe one day I'd be ready to talk, but not now. I needed space to find myself again. The gossip followed me for a while, even in the new city. Friends from home texted, asking for details. "Is it true your sister and Ethan?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. The story had spread like wildfire, and my sister's perfect image was in ashes. Her event planning gigs dried up. Nobody wants a party planner who's the town scandal. Ethan's photography business tanked too. Clients stopped calling when they heard he'd cheated with his wife's sister. I didn't feel sorry for them. They'd built their own prison. One night, alone in my new apartment, I did something I never thought I would. I opened my laptop and started typing. I poured it all out, the betrayal, the lies, the courtroom, everything. I posted it on a Reddit forum, one of those spaces where people share their stories and strangers weigh in. I didn't expect much, just a way to get it off my chest, but by morning my inbox was flooded, hundreds of comments, thousands of upvotes. People were angry for me, cheering me on. "You're a badass," one wrote. "They got what they deserved," said another. I read every one, my eyes blurry with tears. For the first time, I didn't feel alone. I ended my post with a line that felt like a full stop to this chapter. "They're left with nothing, and I'm finally free." It wasn't just about the money. It was about me, taking back my life. I wasn't the doormat anymore, the sister who gave up everything to keep the peace. I was stronger than that, and I was done letting them define me. Life got better, slowly. Work was good, great even. I started a book club at the library, and it grew fast, filling my evenings with laughter and new friends. I went on a few dates, nothing serious, but enough to remind me I was worth more than what I'd settled for. I even started painting again, something I hadn't done since college. My apartment walls were covered in half-finished canvases, bursts of color that felt like pieces of me coming back to life. Thought about my sister sometimes, wondered if she'd ever realize what she'd done. I doubted it. She was always good at playing the victim, blaming everyone but herself. Ethan, too, he'd probably find another woman to charm, another life to ruin. But they weren't my problem anymore. I'd spent too long trying to fix them, to make them love me. Now I was learning to love myself instead. The hardest lesson was Mom. I missed her, or at least the idea of her. The mom I wanted, the one who'd stand up for me, who'd see me as more than the reliable one. Maybe she'd come around someday, but I wasn't holding my breath. Family isn't about blood, I realized. It's about who shows up for you, who lifts you up instead of tearing you down. Natalie was my family now, my book club, my coworkers, the strangers on Reddit who rooted for me. They were my people. I still check that Reddit post sometimes when I'm feeling low. The comments are a reminder. I did the right thing. I stood up for myself. And I won. Not the money, though that would have been nice. But my life, my peace, my sister and my husband, they're out there, scrambling, with nothing to show for their lies. I don't wish them harm. Not really. I just don't care anymore. And that's... I'm not perfect. Some days the hurt creeps back, sharp and sudden. But I'm moving forward, one step at a time. I'm building a life that's mine, not theirs. And for the first time in forever, I feel like I'm enough. If this hit close to home, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and let's talk. I'm here, and I listen.